Well, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. It's that weird time of spring where there's not a lot to do but wait. But there are some small things to do. Let's go. In the onion bed, the necks are becoming soft on some of these onions and falling over, and that's generally a time that's the sign that it's time to harvest these onions. I'd like them to be a little bit bigger though, but if I get onions all about tennis ball size, you know, that's okay. These are the yellow onions, the purple onions haven't bulbed up, and the white onions are just beginning to. So these yellow onions, I'll be harvesting these pretty soon. I have these leeks growing over here. These were kind of my backup leeks, the leftover leeks, and they're not as large as the ones that are in my main leek patch. The problem is I need these out of here today because I'm going to plant my tomatoes here, my Edox tomatoes that I'm going to plant 4 of them in a square so that I can trail them around when I vine them up and lean them down. I can keep them going in a continuous square. So I need these guys out of here. That's okay, we're going to use them though. I will be making potato leek soup today. That video will be forthcoming. So these will be used in something useful and delicious. If not these exact leeks, some of the leeks I've been growing, I've been looking forward to cooking with them. You can plainly tell these are 2 different varieties of leek. I grew some from seed, and I purchased some from Bonnie Plants. And I don't remember which is which. The lighter ones I think are the Bonnie Plants. Bonnie had good plants this year. I saw that they grew onions this year, bought some, and they were better onion starts than I would normally get from Dixondale Farms. So that's surprising. I haven't seen Bonnie Plants sell onions or leeks until this year. I have been paying my son to come out and dig the weeds out of these blocks, but he got a better paying job next door walking the neighbor's dog, so that kind of slowed down. So I guess it's going to be up to me. I'm just going to loosen the top inch or 2 of soil here and scuffle these weeds so they die. I really like the scuffle hoe. I find it much better for weeding than a regular hoe. And I'm going to prepare this 4x4 square right here. Get it ready. This scuffle hoe, it's also called a stirrup hoe or a hula hoe, just glides, this blade just glides under the surface of the soil, chops the roots of your weeds, and I find it to be very useful. Alright, that's pretty chunky looking soil, but it'll do. Alright, here are my seedlings. These are Edox variety, F1 hybrid seeds from Johnny Seeds. And I'm very late. I'm almost a month and a half late getting these out because we had an unfortunate freeze. Let's see, which one looks more healthy? That one does. And they got stunted, and I'll show you what they looked like. Here are my stunted ones. That's what they looked like. And these have not grown any larger in 3 or 4 weeks, while the ones that I up potted with the nutritious soil and more room to spread their roots around, you can see how big they got. Well, believe it or not, I muted my microphone by accident, and it took me an hour after I discovered I had shot the rest of my video without sound. It took me an hour to figure out how to unmute my mic on my camera settings. So I'm going to try to walk you through this. I'm going to take these Edox and I'm going to show you how to plant them. I'm just going to put them here and grow them up a single vine, up a single string, and I'll show you how to do that. I did it before, it works really well, and when they have 12 foliar branches on them, That's all we need. Everything else below those 12 we cut off, and as it grows more we start cutting off the lower foliar branches, leaving behind the fruiting spurs and a bare vine. When it reaches the top of the trellis string, we'll unhook that string, and then we will slide it over to the next station and lean it, and it will lean, and eventually that vine will lay on the ground, and we'll just circle them around and they'll grow indefinitely there. That's the idea. So we dig us a hole, and I amended the hole with some IV Organics all-purpose dry fertilizer, organic stuff. If you'd like 10% off of this or any IV Organics product, use my code Gumbo10. I believe in their products, and I'm only an affiliate of IV Organics because I actually believe in what they do and I like their products. So good stuff. So we're going to plug these tomato plants in, and I'm going to put them in, a little bit deeper than they are planted in their pot now. And it's really easy to grow tomatoes. The soil looks crunchy, but it is actually pretty moist down below. All these leek roots, they make the soil smell like leeks. It's actually a nice little smell. Got some weird things growing in the garden, like rocks and stuff that look like worms, and worms that look like rocks. Yeah. So amend your hole, blend it in a bit, and we're going to take our tomato and just pop it in. Again, I'm going to take off all these little branches down here. We don't need those. We need to bury this plant up to that, a couple inches up the stem, and that will encourage further root growth. But, you can see we've got some pretty good roots there. And that's all there is to that. Now we've got our tomato plants in. You can see the soil breaks up real easy. It's kind of dry on top, but it's nice and moist. I finished up planting my 4 tomato plants, and we watered them really well. And while I was watering these in, I found something in my soil. Let me show it to you. This is the squash vine borer pupa. And you can see it there moving around because it's uncomfortable. I pulled it out into the light. Yeah, these overwinter in the soil, and then they hatch in the spring, and they come in the form of a black moth, black and red moth. It looks like kind of a wasp, and they destroy your squash. They absolutely wreak havoc, so we're going to squash this little fella. Another task I have to do while I've got the watering can out is to water my seedlings. These guys are in small samples of soil, and therefore they dry out quicker than the garden beds and the bigger pots do. So I found when it's sunny outside, I pretty much have to water these every single day. Always stay on top of these. It'd be a shame to go through all that work that we did to get these plants growing and lose them because we failed to water. I'm going to harvest some giant leeks. Well, giant, I say. These aren't as big as the giant ones you get at the grocery store that are the size of a baseball bat. But they are pretty good size. They're larger than the ones I took out of the other bed. And I'm going to harvest what I need for my recipe I'm going to make. I need 1.5 pounds of leeks, and that's after having trimmed them up and prepared them. So I'm going to get maybe 6 or 7 of these, and that'll give us plenty. And I'll be able to take the choicest parts out of those 6 or 7. We'll weigh it out to about 1.5 pounds. That's what the recipe calls for. These are tough to dig. The roots are really in that soil. But you can see we've got enough good material there. We've got the white part and the light green part, and we'll be able to have a good potato leek soup out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and dig some of these up and get them ready. I've discovered that my cooking videos on my gardening channel have actually been improving in their traction on YouTube. Many of you folks actually like them, and so I appreciate that. Right now, my cabbage fritters, cabbage pancake video is doing pretty well, and people are talking all about it in the comments. So thank you for enjoying my cooking videos. I'm going to do another one this evening with these leeks that we're pulling out right here. Yeah. There's our harvest. Not too bad, huh? Think that'll make a good thumbnail? Yeah. All right, well, I couldn't take doing voiceover. I had to come out and shoot some stuff over. And thanks for bearing with me. Hey, if you'd like to learn how to grow a garden like this, a backyard garden, grow your own food, grow leeks and beans and tomatoes and peppers and all that, first of all, follow my channel. That's what we do. We teach in this teaching garden how to do just that. But if you're more book-like and you like books, check out this book. Your First Vegetable Garden by Tony O'Neill. Tony is a YouTuber. He has a garden channel called Simplify Gardening, and I've been following Tony. There he is smiling at you. I've been following Tony for a while, and he sent me his book just out of the kindness of his heart to take a look at and give him feedback. He sent this to many YouTube gardeners for their feedback, and also if we liked it, maybe we'd plug his book for him. He's a nice guy, so I'll do that. What I like about this book, it's targeted to first-time growers, but it's not just a basic how to put a seed in the ground kind of book. This is a gardening Bible. It begins with the chapter that hooked me on it. Why should you grow your own food? And it gives you 25 exceptional good reasons. And then you move on in the book, you learn things like soil health. You learn about plant biology, how plants work. You learn about how nutrients go from the soil to the plant, and you learn it in detail. You learn about what are the macronutrients and the micronutrients. You learn about plant diseases. You learn everything you need to know on how to grow a garden. You learn also about specific plants themselves and how to grow them, how to grow specific crops, and what kind of things to look out for when you're growing those crops. He's got a section on pests, and he goes through the most common pests that you're going to find in your garden. And believe me, you're going to find them in your garden. We just found one of those common pests today. And yeah, this book, I really enjoyed reading this book, and I think you will too. Tony at Simplify Gardening, Your First Vegetable Gardening. Check him out. It's available on Amazon. Well, there we go. Not a whole lot going on, just a few small tasks, and all of those tasks were small enough where they didn't really warrant their own video. So we've got some weeding to do, and that's about it until we get some harvests. Our beans are looking good. They're filled with blossoms. Yeah, they're growing nicely. Hardly a pest on those beans. Onions, like I showed you, they're, at least the yellow ones, are almost ready to grow, ready to pull out. We've got our tomatoes planted there. We do have a few spaces to fill in. That'll come with time. Hey, thanks for joining me today and hanging out. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel. I'd really appreciate it. And we just recently hit 200,000 subscribers, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart that you find our channel worthy of your time. Hey, you have happy gardening. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.